and welcome to a bonus episode because we talked way too much, and now you're gonna see us just ramble.
There's some interesting content behind it all, and you learn some stuff still.
And some shenanigans.
Do we learn anything from that content?
Trauma,
Yeah.
growing up.
The end, the beginning is just watch for yourself.
12 seconds later.
It's like,
Yeah, next time don't shut it rock. Did he get what was coming to you? What you mean?
he is now a reformed man.
You think I still go somewhere or something? Go along, have it. If you want it, go and have it. You think I go fight with you? You was here longer than me, must you? when I was younger and my grandmother was late, she used to say that when she would lay down on the bed, that had a ghost in her house that would like push her around to come and lay down on the bed too, and she would push it back and be like, no, go and sleep somewhere else. I'm laughing, but these things are so real. Like, I know that people are like afraid of them and like to be like, no, that doesn't exist, and in the name of Jesus and stuff like. Girl, I believe in Jesus too, but these things is there. They are there, and being in denial does not stop them from being there. They're there, just like the ghost in my house, and I'm not gonna fight him. If you want a piece of the apple, have the apple.
Nah,
Have the apple.
I
ain't got that for the apple, you mad? And then they stuck in our kitchen with you for my. No, thank you.
I on a different time. I just be like, ghosts, you really feel
Also, when people die in houses, like, I ain't not going in that house. I don't care if you bless it from now till Jesus'
When you was all
second
blessed.
coming.
I want you to realize.
First of all, if you know certain people and their spirits, and how determined they were to be not very nice people, and you know that in that afterlife, they're not in the afterlife. They're in their house still being a spirit. Why would I want to go into your house and live in it?
Because I gotta do nothing.
Excuse me? That's not true.
Let it dead.
Just say how he could drop the apple, them could do me something.
Let the dead bury the dead.
All I can say is, right?
And you bless it, because if you're an evil spirit, then it's just to cleanse and to say, okay, go about your business. You don't need to be here. It's just a thing.
Oh,
So,
It's not really like a. Ooh.
so my hot take is, realistically, everywhere in Barbados, somebody dead on some square foot of land.
Yeah.
Which means, in theory, Barbados is the best place for a horror movie.
You see, I'm afraid of horror movies, and I'm afraid of the dark, and I'm afraid of this conversation.
Like, imagine somebody use a
Not
Ouija
able to
board.
sleep tonight. And that's why we're not doing a cemetery walk. If they do a cemetery walk, have fun. Have fun.
Not me.
But you know who's not gonna
Not
be there? Me. I'm not
I
gonna
have
be there.
I've been around Christchurch Cemetery too many times at
I'm gonna
night
be there.
and
I
seen
don't
too
go
many
to
weird
cemeteries
things.
during the day.
Listen,
I don't like to go near deceased people. I'm sorry. I loved you while you were alive. That's not you anymore. There are very few people that I went near their bodies after they died, and I was freaked out.
and so from my perspective, the only people that ever try to harm me is people that are alive. I never had a problem with a dead person.
I'm so happy for you that Jesus is on your side.
Show me, yeah, Jesus died, boy. Like the dead bury the dead. I just go and I just like,
Darling,
this man dead, boy. He can't.
there are some vengeful spirits.
Yeah, okay. let it be vengeful. What I can do, me?
vengeful but itself.
Exactly, you can be vengeful, like brother.
And I hate conversations like this when people are like, no, they can't do me anything. No, you have respect for things. That's why you have respect for the ocean, because the ocean will kill you.
Oh, 100%.
Okay. How he is to dead spirits is how I am to the ocean.
Yeah.
Because
No.
I-
What do you mean how he is to dead spirits? You are to the ocean.
You don't care?
I have almost actually have I never told you this story?
To die, you won't die. Moana, bitch.
Have I never told you the story?
The ocean wants you to die, you will die. You will, in fact, die. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Have you met the ocean? Have
yes.
you met it?
Yes. All right. Let me pause here.
I also almost died.
Let me pause here.
Kitchen. I know what. Expose yourself. Ain't just me on this episode. I get call out. Nah.
Call out. I have.
Speak. This better not be paused. If this is not this episode, I try my shoe at you, boss man.
Oh yeah.
I alive. So the way that he just said, alive people can hurt you. I will hurt you.
Listen, to be very fair, so you want
Is
to make
this episode paused, Jared?
No.
Okay.
Pause it. I pause it for a split second. Why would
And then the violence come out.
Yep, the violence come out on pause.
That's fine.
Anyway, so for me, I respect the ocean, but I don't fear it. Even in the slightest.
Healthy fear is a good amount of fear. That's why you fear God.
I respect the ocean. Because, like, the time I nearly drowned.
To respect something, you have to have a healthy fear of it.
Do you?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I think if you respect something, you know its capabilities, and in its capabilities, you know that it's capable of killing you, and therefore you have the fear and knowledge of what it is, but you aren't like terrified of it. You're not letting it control you, but to be fearful of something doesn't mean that you have to let it control you, that you have to be like, oh, you'll kill me if I go into you. To have a healthy fear of something is to know its dangers and still...
Like, I got a healthy fear of the ocean. Like, honestly, no, I know if I go in and I start to die, that on me. That is 100% on me. I shouldn't be there.
No,
like, I can't swim. I should not be there. The fact that I am there, something went terribly wrong, and that is 100% on me. If I die, I die.
Stay tuned for our water episodes.
No, I ain't gonna fight it. Like, I don't wanna get punch me in my head and knock me out.
It don't work.
Let me die.
It don't work.
I know.
It don't work.
Quite fair, right?
The adrenaline really... Actually,
to be quite fair, if you ever witness Andre in water, it's very easy to save him.
It's not.
His adrenaline doesn't do anything.
Yeah, I don't panic. No. Just die.
His adrenaline doesn't do anything. He just stays there. Is he afraid? Yes. He doesn't do anything.
I literally just accept my death.
He's a very easy person to save.
If
those
something...
people who are like, oh my gosh, I'm drowning. No, I know the people that mean.
I can tell you my story.
He's not one of those.
So, Andre knows how far he does swim normally when he gets to the beach. I just go far. I like to go for a little cool stroll. That's what he's called it.
Could never.
So, I went for a cool stroll, and a friend of mine was like, oh, I want to come.
Nope.
So I was like, sure, if you want to come, I'm going to make sure you are good.
Nope.
You have my flipper. No. You have my flippers. You have my pull guards. You have everything that you could possibly need. If you got a problem,
Jared,
just lay afloat.
Don't ever tell somebody that.
I was young. I was 20. We getting out. I get to my usual point. Where the water hit dark blue, and I'm about to do my flip turn. I look back and I can't see my friend. So, oh wait, I see a little splash there, 200 yards back. Swim and go on top speed to the man.
Nope.
Get to the man, and the first thing he does is this.
Yep.
One hand out, and we getting down.
Yep.
I was just like, I got breath. This was like shortly after I was a top swimmer, and I getting down, I was like, yo, this is a waste down. And we still going down. I want to touch the bottom. I was curious. I touched the bottom.
That's
and I
not
look up.
healthy fear. That's ADSC. No offense, but offense.
I look at it, man. I look up. I was like, that's a lot of water.
What do you mean you want to touch your bottom?
Because that's what you usually do.
That's not healthy fear, Jared. That's idiocy.
No.
That's not respect for the ocean. That is, I will later die. That's
Pause.
what that is.
Pause. This is the whole. I nearly died before. This is how I lost my fear down in the ocean. Anyway, right. Also, I can hold my breath for 5 minutes back then.
I just want you to know this is not healthy fear. This is not healthy fear.
No, this is very
Coming from a therapist, this is not healthy fear. Do not listen to Jerry. He's talking nonsense.
Well, this was before the fear.
This was before
I want
the
to touch the
fear.
bottom of the
What was
ocean.
before?
This is before the fear, Simone.
I want to touch the bottom of the ocean. Continue.
So I touch the bottom, I look up, and it's like, you know, all the light poses is like the top of them. I was like, I got a human on me. I gotta get back to the top first, and then I gotta get back to shore
I do respect you wanting to save your friend, though.
with a human.
My friend was gonna die.
And
Sorry.
he's there running out the air, and I was just like, when they get back to the top, again, knock you out. Swim top speed, get back to the top, pull him off of me, and does this. Cross his temple, no less. I was like, I not giving it a chance to not work. I hit this man, his eyes blinked for 2 seconds, and he came back to instantly. I was just like, cool. Strapped him, he grabbed onto my butt, and I just started swimming.
At least you got enough for him to reposition.
We get to shore. I look at the man and was like, F you? I pass out. I was very well sunburned. And that was when my fear of the ocean started. And pure respect. But I still did swim out the other time. But it's alone.
Yeah, because what you try to save somebody is.
If I die out there, that's my fault. That I was not good.
If he had died there, that's his fault. Almost died multiple times.
Cool. So we know at least one quantum immortal person.
I just be near that all the time, it seems.
I mean, see him.
They choke on. I remember first, like, just choking on, like, the chicken bone. Cause you know, the chicken leg has got a small thin bone. When I was young, and I had asked, I swallowed them, and my mother was looking at me, and it grew up different from a lot of people, but a lot of people understand what I'm about to say. And I was like, kind of like serve you right. like, I was like, if you can do foolishness, because I remember being young and I always wanted to try to show that, I old enough to do it, I old enough to do this. Because my mother would usually cut up the chicken and give it to me.
Separate episode.
Yeah.
This is like a bonus episode. Like, we finished talking about conspiracies, and then we just started talking about random shit.
Yeah, there's a bonus episode. So, my mother was just watching me, and I remember this was about the same week that I first moved from a sippy cup. And I just remember that fondly. I remember the first time that I used to have a sippy cup. And then one day, I told my mother I want to drink from a cup. She was like,
I feel like I was drinking
Okay.
from a sippy cup till I was like 10. On purpose. You know, there was a specific sippy cup that I liked so much that I kept drinking from it, even though I was old enough to not drink from it. I could drink from regular cups, and I would. But then if it was a drink that I had liked a lot, I would drink it from a sippy cup.
not me.
Nice.
I was like, I want to drink from a cup. He's a big boy. And she allowed me to. And I was like, okay. Then I say it was just like, I want to eat, like, they don't chop up the chicken. I can eat the chicken. Especially, I was like overly influenced by the cartoons and liking how like people hold it like one of their big legs and hold it by their hand and put it in their mouth and he started to choke. But I was like, this boy, he can learn today. He ain't get dead. I don't think my mother will allow me to die. But she was allowing me to see the effects of my own inability. And I was like, you can learn how to survive right now, or the Darwin Award can go to you. And I survived. I was like, I didn't learn that lesson to how to them. That's why now, even when I eat like fish, I have no problem with bones. I could skin a pot fish, well-born fish easy. Because, once again, my mother gave me that opportunity to understand my limitations when it came to that stuff. So all of my near-death experiences,
I guess I didn't learn my lessons.
nah. When you mother save you, and you're long time, you end
Oh,
up
I've
just
never
being
eaten
a-
fatty bacon ever again in my life.
You see?
Perfect.
I would have throw somebody to watch me, and I would have come out stronger, faster.
No, but the thing is, right, you know how, like, as you're growing up, you learn, okay, this is a fattier piece of bacon, and I need to chew it more, or I need to, like, at least break it up so I can swallow. Like, they've had times before that choking where it'd be like, ugh, that wasn't the greatest swallow of the bacon. But that particular day, I was chewing and chewing and chewing. And, like, it was just the side of the bacon. It just didn't break apart. So, like, but it was, like, tough enough, obviously, since I couldn't chew it. Me and my little 4-year-old self, I was chewing it. And I just couldn't. Like, and my reflex to, like, regurgitate it also wasn't allowing me to get it out. So it was, like, too far down my throat. Like, piece of it was too far down my throat for my body to naturally get it back out. And obviously I couldn't swallow if piece of it is trying to come back out. So at that point I needed somebody to just stick their hand in. Like, I have 4, of course I'm freaking out because I'm just like, oh. And then my sister is traumatized because it's like, what am I supposed to do? She was, 10 at the time? So she's just looking at me. And then my mommy runs in from the kitchen. My mommy is a superwoman, by the way. And I say that because anytime I've ever had to throw up, she's always magically gotten a bag to me. We've talked about the projectile vomiting thing on the podcast, haven't we?
I think so.
Yeah. She's just always magically gotten a bag to me. Like, anything like that has happened, she's just been like...
You see, once again,
Mother instincts.
Once again, the difference. Because my mother was always like,
Pulls out.
you can learn, do it yourself. You either get to the bag,
Or you clean it up.
or you clean it up.
But that's the thing. I physically cannot. My body doesn't do that.
I probably couldn't eat it until I had to live with the consequences of my actions.
No.
Constantly.
We've already established that there are different types of thrower-uppers.
Yeah.
And you are not a me. You've watched.
But I used to be.
You've watched me throw. I physically cannot change it.
Fun fact, I used to be one too. He experienced it.
Yeah.
I
And
cannot
you know
stop
what?
it.
You know what happened? You know that my throat, like, if I want to vomit, my throat does this. The minute it comes up,
Just clamp.
I just can't breathe. Instantly.
Mine does the opposite. Hiccup.
So, from your professional
I
background,
get 3
getting-
hiccups. And if you don't make it in time for the 3 hiccups, I'm sorry.
So, from your professional
I've thrown
background,
upon lots of people.
how to overcome these traumas? What's a healthy way to...
Very terrified of throwing up like me. It's a phobia, no. It's a phobia. Traumatizing. How to get over what?
Traumas.
Almost choking?
No, just traumas in general.
You see, right? I can't speak on personal experience because I'm traumatized by a lot of things. And I'm still struggling to get past them. However, there are trauma techniques of grounding yourself, finding, like, comfort things to get you through situations, repetitive behaviors to get you through situations. So you will obviously repeat doing it before the situation happens, so that when you're in a situation, your brain automatically connects that you could do something. Like, if you're struggling with anger, which is besides what you're talking about. If you're struggling with anger and you do meditation every single day, and you are meditating with the intention of, I want to calm down, I want to be calmer and react differently, then when you're getting upset, your body's natural reaction is to calm down. Like, it will remind you of the techniques that you usually use so it'll be easier to calm down. That's why when talking about anger or talking about trauma or stuff, you have to implement techniques that you do consistently every single day, a routine, so that your brain then associates. Because with a trauma response, your brain now connects whatever traumatic thing happened to like the fear. Like it will be a automatic. So if I'm afraid of throwing up, every single time I go to throw up, I'll have a meltdown. True.
So basically, does physical trauma and mental trauma have different?
They do.
Okay.
But you can overcome it kind of the same way, but it takes longer.
For which one?
I would say physical. But it also depends on the type of trauma. For something like throwing up that doesn't happen often, like a trauma that doesn't happen to you often, it's harder to get over said trauma because it doesn't happen often. Like, you could do your techniques for it and it will assist you, but the situation, for some people, they'll say, okay, exposure therapy helps with things that are upsetting to you. So for some people, that won't help you. That'll make whatever it is worse. For my throwing up situation, I can use techniques, like if I implement the breathing and stuff, to help me get through the thing that is traumatizing. But where my fear comes in or kind of starts to override that is I'm not just afraid of throwing up, I'm afraid of all of the feelings that come with throwing up. So it's like a multi-layered thing that I have to get over. So
with these multi-layer things, do you work on it concurrently, or is it like, okay, I got to focus on one thing first and then get to overcome the other thing, and is it a process is linear?
How deep it is.
No.
If it's a very, so let's say you were in a shootout or something. It would depend on what traumatized you. Did the noise traumatize you? Did the threat of danger traumatize you? Did
Your blood?
Yeah. Like what?
The screams.
What thing traumatized you? And then if you think about it, anything can trigger you to go back into that moment. That's like PTSD. So trauma doesn't have to become PTSD. It can't, it has to last, I think, at least 6 months, and have there are different markers of it in the DSM. 5, almost now 6. I don't think they come up with 6 yet. There are different markers that will get you to post-traumatic stress disorder, where you're not just traumatized by an event. It's like, I wouldn't say cemented, but it's a lot more
deep-rooted? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So in those cases, simply breathing through something can help you. So like I was saying with the throwing up, it can help me get through it, but it wouldn't fully get rid of the traumatizing thing of it. And sometimes with trauma, you can't fully get rid of your fear that you've now gotten because of said thing. Like, fear is an irrational thing. So sometimes we can rationalize and make it logical in our brain that this fear doesn't make any sense. And you can use that to be like, okay, I'm not afraid of that thing anymore because I've gone through these steps and I've repeated in my head, and I've gone through my therapy to be like, this is not real, this is not actually happening, etc., etc. However, there are some fears where it might be irrational, but they're signifiers that make you feel like if is real. So with me throwing up, I'm sorry that I keep using that as an example, but like with me throwing up, since the fear is the entire feeling of what I'm feeling and the fact that I don't have any sort of control, I don't like being put in that situation. Like, that fear isn't just a throwing up fear. That's a fear that comes with through different things. So the out of control feeling is exacerbated by the throwing up. But that's not the only thing that's there. So in that sense, I would have to deal with more than one trigger when it comes to throwing up. But if it's just one thing that you're traumatized by, then you could deal with that one thing, if that makes sense. But I'm not a trauma specialist, so.
No. So you need a particular.
You don't. Okay, so you can. Like, you can come to me if you have a mild trauma of something. But because I don't deal with traumas every single day, I'm not as well versed in every single type of trauma that there is and the best techniques for all of them. Like I said, there are different things that work for different people. And a trauma specialist might deal with more grand scale things. Like, let's say there was a death at a workplace that was very significant, or a threat, like a explosion threat, or a robbing, or something that was like on a mass scale that a lot of people are dealing with. You would sometimes get somebody who's a crisis management person or a crisis intervention person to deal with that, while I deal with like a lot. Like, it's not that I can't. I can. I personally just prefer dealing with anxiety, depression, grief, loss. Those
So
topics.
still traumas.
Yes, but I don't necessarily like dealing with PTSD.
Oh, it's take a big toll on you. Okay.
So, yeah. All right, guys, that was your bonus episode. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe, like, comment. Bye.
If on a walk, Courtney and Charlene Box, no.
They're gonna come back for the mukbang episode, remember?
You know, it's
You have to like.